All right. Anyways,
So my dad is a very, very smart guy.
He's got a tattoo.
He doesn't have any tattoos that I know of. He's bald. He has no hair on his head. And then he started shaving. He looks cool. He's a psychiatrist. I've said that. I'm realizing I don't know him very well. All the things I'm saying about him are stuff you could find on his Facebook page.
Are you scared of him?
No.
Not like he's under your bed, but just like are you scared of making him upset? Like if you say something in an interview, or like are you scared?
My dad's not the scary one. My mom's the enforcer.
Because you feel like you'll have emotional hell to pay if she...
If I had to guess, is that my dad would not be... Like, my mom's very, very religious. They're both very religious. Sometimes I get the sense that if they weren't together, my dad would not be as religious.
Interesting.
So I think... So that is interesting, but it's unfortunately a conversation we're never going to have.
All right. You mean here tonight, or...
Should I call him? Hey, Dad, come on. I mean, what's the deal with Muhammad, right? Just me and you and 100 other people, and then thousands tomorrow when it goes out.
Well, I think it's both. It's a stereotype and it's fact. Like that fathers and sons have these weird communication. There's so much like tension that's unspoken and unexpressed.
You mean, is it like a competitive thing? I'll say this.
No, just like, well, what you just said. Like, I would think that you grew up in Pakistan, you came here, you had to, I'm treading carefully here.
No, go for it.
I don't want to put words in your mouth.
No, go for it.
You feel yourself as kind of like you've achieved escape velocity from something that has a certain membrane around it. You're speaking about your dad he's a psychiatrist, He's an intelligent man. You just kind of summed up there in a very important thing, like maybe your dad also would achieve that escape velocity. Like he is this genetic blueprint of you. He's like this. That's how we all. And you haven't talked about it with him.
Yeah, I don't know. The idea of, earlier today, I was imagining, this is what my fantasies are, having like a real conversation with my parents where we share our feelings, and I almost got nauseous.
Yeah.
It was so outside my reality to be like, well, how do you really feel about this? Like, if my dad ever said to me, I'm proud of you, I would like really, really, it just doesn't feel like part of reality. Like,
yeah.
if I would be like, what did you do with my dad, Tony Shalhoub? Because it's so outside of, like, just him saying that to me made me feel embarrassed, like my face turned red. Just
right.
me thinking about that idea.
Because but it's like not for him, for yourself.
For myself. Yeah.
Because it's something that's so it's like all of a sudden you're in a bathtub and someone's washing your little hinder quarters.
Right.
Like it's too intimate, it's too emotional.
But part of it I know is that it would take so much effort for him to say that I would feel guilty for making him make that effort.
Yeah. My dad told me, I think I've told the story before, like it was back when we were just, the only thing I had going was a Channel 101 pilot for Acceptable TV and for VH1 and all the Channel 101
I watched that show. That show was great. Before we knew each other.
Yes.
Not before you.
Well, they fired me for a season and the sketches were, but...
Did they? Wait, there were 2 seasons?
No, I'm kidding. We had a party to celebrate Acceptable TV being on VH1, so it was all the Channel 101 kids, and we all felt kind of like, we did it. We did something. We built something together. We're going to have a TV show. How could this ever go wrong? And whole bar full of them. And my parents just happened to be visiting, and my dad, I walked, and it got too late for them because they're old folk, and I walked them to their car. They were going to go to the hotel, and they're in the parking lot behind the Club TG in Glendale. My dad said, I didn't even realize I've been waiting to hear it. He was like, all those people in there, they're all there because of you. They really look up to you. Very, very proud of you. And I was like, okay, all right, cool. Yeah, thanks, man. Have a safe drive home. I'm gonna go explode in a urinal.
It's like that moment
not coming. I just meant I would be seeking privacy, and there would probably be a urinal there. I didn't mean I'm gonna come.
Although, I don't know. Maybe I would come. I don't know what reaction my body would have if my dad said that to me. It's sort of like what you described as that moment in Planes, Trains, and Automobiles where he puts his hand in the butt. He's like, it's not pillows. And he's like, oh, the football game is pretty good. It's we've made ourselves vulnerable to each other in ways that we don't know what to do with.
And then when my dad came out, the next time he was in L.A. happened to be the night that Chevy Chase walked off the set of the last episode of the third season. And then we went to this, and he saw how upset I was because I got the text message. Chevy walked off the set, the tag is ruined, blah, blah, blah. Went to the rap party, and I did that thing that I did.
That was that night.
You see in TMZ referred to as me ridiculing him in front of his wife and kids, who are all 50. In front of his kids. He's not Clark Griswold. His kids have television shows. His kids are senators. Like they can handle it. They're on Lipitor. They've got their own problems. Oh, Papa! What did that strange man say to you? They were all on Rascals. It's not what you think when you hear it. It was very funny at the time. But I just remember my dad at that rap party, like, because there'd be like one guy came up to me and he was like, and I totally understand this. I look back on all of it. I'm an asshole, whatever, blah blah blah. I love my show too much, and I'm a fucking petty dick, and I have oppositional defiant disorder, or whatever, or drunken slur disorder. But at the time, it was like fucking. It was like, look, I took that negative behavior, I turned it into something positive. The rap party, blah blah blah. It's like one of the crew members who was very respectful, who loved Chevy in spite of everything, was like trying to explain to me in front of my dad, who must be a huge Chevy Chase fan. My dad's a baby boomer. He grew up and all this stuff. So, he's like, yeah, but Chevy, he's a personality. He's an asset and all this stuff. And my dad all of a sudden just unexpectedly saying to this guy, look, if you run a business, you tell me that if I run a carpet business and your personality means you can't lift carpet, you're fucking fired.
Yeah. And then you came in a urinal.
And then I went and came in a urinal again. I was I finally got either my dad got so zen and realized that he had or I got so old that we're the same guy. He's saying what's about to come out of my mouth. Anyways,
so, this is interesting. I just Emily and I are writing a movie together, and I just realized right now the movie ends. I have this conversation with my dad. And it's the conversation of my dreams that I'm never going to have in real life that I wrote in this movie. It's kind of, I just realized that. I was like, oh my God, it's like The Secret. Oh, fuck you. I just realized that. I just wrote that conversation so that in some way it'll be real in my head, even if it won't be physically real. Some part of my memory will confuse it and be like, oh yeah, you guys had that talk.
It always makes me wonder, if our generation has kids, how's that trickle work? It's like you got my grandpas who were at Guadalcanal, and the other one was at somewhere in the European theater. Both of them running around, stabbing and shooting and risking their lives. Both of them come back home, never say a word about it. Let alone publish a blog about it or a recipe book or you have that silent generation, the greatest generation, and then the baby boomer generation. They're like, they're like I don't know. They weren't exactly quiet, but they had a little more class than my generation in terms of talking about their feelings and stuff. And then I wonder, is this just like a Is this just a slow continuum? Like, pretty soon you're just going to have a baby, and the baby's crying, and you're just crying with it, and and then you just both cry, and you both suck your thumb and kind of just roll around. That's how I'm going to do it, probably. I say because Aaron made that tavern in my house upstairs. You know, McHarmon's. Like, I thought this is a great nursery, because you could put a crib in the middle of it, and it made me really realize, like, you could just have bottles of vodka and bottles of milk along the wall. And I could just sit in there, and we could both just shit our pants and cry and talk about how we hate being told when to go to bed.
I mean, we talked about this, or we were talking about, like, am I gonna have kids or not? I was like, I don't feel like a grown up. I feel like I'm still shitting my pants. Like, my dad was always a grown-up to me, you know? And it felt like he had the authority to raise a child. I don't have the authority to raise a child. Like, what are we gonna... Yeah. What, I want to talk to this little... Like, what's the world like? I don't know. I've been saving Hyrule my whole life, you know? I've saved it like 20 times over. That's all I know. I don't know anything. Is everyone just faking it? Or do people know?
I think some people don't have to fake it in some areas. Like, some people are just really good at, like, putting a car up on blocks and changing the oil in the tires or whatever the hell they do, and they don't even get to enjoy it that much because they're not as good at writing a sonnet. And I don't know. It all comes out in the wash. I don't know. Like I'm not saying that a guy that can fix a car can't write a poem. I'm not saying that at all. I'm not saying he's dumb just because he's handy. I'm just mean that we all have, like, a bingo card. Like, you just have random shit. There's a guy out there that's like, I'm good at fixing the car and writing the sonnets, but they gotta be bad at gardening or managing their emotions or something. Like, there's something that you do and I do that's, like, quote unquote manlier than average. Just one, like, random category. You wouldn't be able to recognize it from across a room. There's some specific... Maybe it's just the amount of bullying you'll put up with.
That doesn't feel very manly.
I know, but if taken to an extreme, you know? Martin Luther King. You know, like at a certain point you become a real man, like, for putting up with a lot of shit. You can change the world by putting up with it. Anyways.